talk to you about a man who was a builder. He lived, he died about 40 years ago. He was born in 1879 and he died in 1978. So he lived till he was 99 years old. He was a builder. He had a big building company that he was in charge of. But when he took it over, it was just a small company. And his name was John Laing. Now, when John Laing, he became a very generous man. When he first started his building business, he took it over from his dad, and it was going okay until he had a real difficult challenge. And in 1909, he said, God, I'm going to decide that no matter how much money I earn, you can see along the bottom there goes 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000. No matter how much I earn, do you notice the red lines don't get any bigger than that £500 mark? £500, you might think, well, that's not much money. But in those days, that would be about the same as maybe £65,000 salary. That's about what a middle manager earns. It's a good salary for a teacher, a lower grade doctor, middle of the range doctor. It's that kind of amount of money. He says, then I'm going to take half of what's left and I'm going to share that with people and with the church. And I'm going to take the other half and I'm going to save it to help build the business that I'm trying to grow here. And build it he did. God bless the business so much. I mean, John Laing, they built the M1 motorway, the first motorway in England. They built the Second Severn Bridge, a huge bridge from England there. They built loads of houses. They built loads of airports like Glasgow Airport. They built big building complexes like the Barbican in London. It was John Laing's business that started as this small little business and just grew and grew and grew and grew. Some of your parents may know about prefab buildings. Well, John Laing was the guy who did that. In fact, his business just exploded more and more and more, and John Laing, he kept to what he said he was going to. He never lived above that level. He said, that's what I need, those are my needs. Anything beyond that would be just me being greedy, and I'm going to give away everything else. He was so generous, he bought houses for people who needed it. He paid sick leave, and he gave his workers paid holiday. Nobody else did that in those days. He was generous, 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 giving wherever he saw need. In fact, he helped to fund something called Counties Evangelists. They still exist today. They go around. He was paying evangelists to preach the gospel. Bernardo's, the children's home, Muller's children's homes, the Mission Aviation Fellowship. John Laing threw loads of money into these things. UCCF, working in universities, telling people about Jesus. Urban Saints used to be called Crusaders. He gave lots of money. He paid for half their headquarters. Likewise, the London School of Theology, which when it was set up was London Bible School. Guess who was there? Funding it, giving the money to make the school possible? John Laing. And loads of other places. We could list more and more and more of them. In fact, when he died just leaving a few £100s, and the rest of his money was in a charitable trust, put to one side to be spent. Not only his money, but also his family. They did the same thing, and they set up trusts as well. The Laing Family Trust. These family trusts, they give millions and millions of pounds away. Just hold on a minute. The amount of money that he saved up and put in this pot is so much money that it is earning millions of pounds. We're talking, I think it's about 60, 70 million pounds still today. And remember, that was way more money back from when he died compared to what it is now. It's still producing millions and millions and millions of pounds that is still being used to help children meet with Jesus, to help young people hear about Jesus, to help those who are poor, to help buildings be built, to help churches be refurbished, their buildings. This one man, because he said, God, I'm going to live by this much and I'm giving away the rest to whoever needs it, because of what John Laing did, even today, 40 years after he died, his legacy is still living on. It's not just the buildings he built that still last, but the money he gave is still giving to this very day. He could have, and very rightly so, kept all that money for himself, saying, I earned all of this. But he wasn't living for money. He was living for God. He wasn't living to see how much he could get for himself. He was living to see how much he could build God's kingdom. And